I heard a lot of what are the problems, or I guess not problems, worries about Joe Biden from the right when he was running, that he would, ban guns, or about like a lot of crazy things. And then I heard also a lot of crazy things about Donald Trump, and I just put them up against each other, and I'm like, well, these things could come true, or we might do okay.
So once again, this needs to stop. Okay, this is 2025. People have access to crazy amount of information. If you still believe that Democrats are gonna just create laws and legislation to just take everybody's guns, you're a lost cause. All right, so like I said before in past maybe like 15, 20 videos, there's basically three types of people that voted for Donald Trump. Not all Republicans are the same, just like all black people are not the same. You're going to find different ideologies and different opinions within the Republican Party. But hearing, a lot of these, conversations, having conversations of my own with Trump supporters, I've broken it down to three types of people. One is the racists. Of course, just like that funny slogan, like, not all Republicans are racist, but all races are Republicans. Like, it's funny. It's not true, obviously, but you're going to find a nice amount of racists, bigots, misogynists within the Republican Party. So when it comes to Harris, she was black. They didn't want to vote for her. She's a woman. They didn't want to vote for a woman, and they're bigots. So that was already not in her favor. Number two is selfish people, wealthy people, CEOs, those who see the Republican Party as money. This is an opportunity to get money, to save money, to be able to create laws, break laws, whatever the case is. We've seen it with Donald Trump himself, with increasing his wealth like times 10. So has Elon Musk and all these other just selfish people. They will vote for the Republican Party just because of that. Then third, we have naive people. We have the uneducated, and we have the Trump bros. Those that just see Trump as a comedian. Those that just love to see the bickering and the fighting. They don't really know nothing about politics, but what they do know is Trump is a funny guy. He says funny things. He seems, relatable, whatever that means. So they're going to vote for him. Nothing more, nothing less. This video, this conversation that we're going to see with Destiny and this MAGA voter is number three, the naive, the uneducated. And when I heard this, when I was listening to this at work, it blew my mind on how naive people can really be. Like, it's more than just saying it. When you hear people talk about Trump, past tense, you can't help but to think, what the fuck were you thinking? Like, you have to be the biggest idiot. And it's folks like you that lost us this election. Now, of course, I know Harris wasn't the best candidate out there. Trust me, I know. So don't tell me in the comments, yes, her messaging was trash. When it comes to Gaza, she was trash. When it comes to the inflation and how she spoke to people about it was trash. Yes, she wanted to be Joe Biden 2.0. Yes, I get that. But none of that amounts to what we have now. I'd rather have a Biden 2.0 than what we're dealing with now, any day of the week. But it lies in the voters' hands at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and go to Destiny having this conversation at his the anti-Trump tour in Michigan. So hey, this is going to be cringe as hell, but this should give you some insight on what kind of people you might be dealing with. Let's take a listen.
Uncomfy.
Yeah, you're good.
Just a tad. So I have like I don't think I'll be able to get to it all at all. And again, thank you for doing this. This has been fantastic that you give people the opportunity to do this, and thank you for Travis. So the first thing, I guess, is to piggyback off of the few conversations you just had. I don't want to keep going and beating a dead horse, but because that's kind of how it's probably going to feel. But I feel like you have this very opinionated, polarized view of, I'd say, the extreme right. And I think you group the extreme right in with kind of the right, because there's a lot of, at least from my conversation circles, and they're not very active online, and I think maybe what you view and what you see is the active right community that's online, which is absolutely unhinged, and it's absolutely crazy. But I think there's also a lot of people out there that voted for Trump that see a lot of the things that he's done, and they do not speak up as much as they should, and I think that they should. But the few conversations that I've had with people that did vote for him, I am the one included, to where it's, okay, well, the tariffs are a bit crazy. Let's dial back. Or, okay, well, these maybe the deportations is another thing, along with the fact of the pardoning of the January 6ers. And you also said something earlier about the Jan 6ers, to where you said that nobody on the right spoke up. Are you saying like the right influencers, or are you
In
just
the media,
saying?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Because I'm like, there were people that spoke up, but it's just not anybody who's in the prevalent media, which is, again, the issue. So, yeah, that's my big issue. But I guess my first question.
Do you know the differences between somebody who adamantly votes for Trump and somebody who reluctantly votes for Trump?
What?
There's none.
I
think that's the
don't know about
issue.
that.
Is there's like, I'll find a lot of these people who are like, oh, I don't know, I don't fully support it. Like, at the end of the day, a vote is a vote. It all gets counted up the same way. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter if he still has support. Like, Donald Trump is an extremely unhinged, like, quasi-fascist, like, just an unbelievable person. And I can't imagine what it would be like to even reluctantly vote for somebody like that. Like, something is so broken, I think, with the concept of America right now, if that's the case. But,
And
so I don't know when people are like, well, there's not.
and he makes a really good point. And just like I said at the beginning, like, at the end of the day, a vote is a vote. And no matter if you didn't like Kamala because of Gaza, whatever the case is, you had a hint. You knew deep down in your spirit Trump was going to F things up. I used enough of my swear words this morning, so I can't cuss no more, okay? You knew Trump was going to F some things up. But those, just like this young man, voted for Trump still. And he's trying to make a distinction, like, I'm not like the crazy Republicans. I'm like a concerned Republican. Like, I'm able to say what he's doing is crazy. But at the end of the day, you voted for this. You can't try to rational your way out of this. You voted for this. So therefore, you're complicit in what's going on. I know a lot of people don't like that, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. Hey, I'm sorry.
Not like the most extremist supporters of this guy who, is extorting law firms all over the country and openly bragging about it, is installing tariffs on islands that are only inhabited by penguins, is deporting people without due process gleefully in the middle of the night, has hired an anti-vaxxer as the head of the agency. Like, I mean, there's like a billion different things you can say. And it's like, well, yeah, but Kamala was woke.
Well, I don't think that's the only issue. I think there was a lot of people's issue to where the issue with Kamala.
That was the only issue. And I'm saying that now. You cannot, like I said, even with Gaza, you can say, and I understand, trust me, I am there with you. You can say how Biden handled Gaza was horrendous. I get that. And if Harris would have got in, it's a good chance she would have just kept it going. I get that. But what Trump is doing, or what he plans to do, or what he will do in the future, same with Ukraine, is worse than what Biden would ever do. Is worse than anything Harris would have done. So whatever you think Harris was horrible at, I guarantee you we can look or even understand that Trump would do it 10 times worse. So what is it? Because you didn't vote for Harris? Because she's woke? Which, once again, that's a made-up boogeyman. Woke can be whatever you want it to be. You can't defeat a boogeyman. It's in your head. And I'm not going to fight what's in your head. I'm looking at facts. I'm looking at tangible facts. And I'm sorry. Those who didn't vote for Harris because of X, Y, and Z, guess what? Trump is going to do it 10 times worse. So obviously, you didn't understand why you didn't like Harris, or you really didn't care. That's simple. But let's continue.
One of it, at least I heard, was that there wasn't like a consensus around her to put her as the primary. There was not a primary for her. She just kind of was the front runner, just suddenly.
Yeah, but nobody believes that. Nobody actually cared about that.
I don't know about nobody. I think
they
nobody.
didn't, because if they did, because
like
find me any of these people, and I want to see how much they were tweeting about the fact that Donald Trump refused to debate any of the other primary challengers.
Well, that's again where my.
And I've heard this conversation, especially when she was first announced that she was going to be running for president with no, competition whatsoever. One thing, okay, one thing, it is not a part of the Constitution or no laws saying that the Democratic Party or the Republican Party have to hold these challenges. There's nothing holding them legally bind to these things. They don't even have to do debates. They don't have to. They do that because they want to show, but at the end of the day, they don't have to. So this whole conversation like, oh, we didn't vote Harris in. Technically, you did. When you voted for Biden, you also voted for the vice president. Hey, that's how logic works. He didn't just pull somebody off the street and say, hey, this is going to be who's going to be running for president. No, it was the vice president. That's how things happen in order. If something was to happen to the president, it goes down to the next person, which is the vice president. That's how that happened. So technically, you did vote for Harris because she was second on the ticket. So let's end that conversation right there.
Issue comes in where they weren't active online. They just had an opinion, and they, so that's
if it's not showing up anywhere in the media anywhere, then
that's I agree with you there, where they need to make their voice heard and they need to actively be active online, or
anywhere. It doesn't have to be online. It could be in the media. It could be a politician.
Well, exactly. Yeah, but
why can't you? But you know why you can't do that though, right? It's because the Trumples will destroy you.
I don't. Well, yeah, they'll try. Yeah, I agree with that. I couldn't say that they'll destroy because a lot of them are delusional. So.
Well, I mean that you won't have a political career anymore. You'll be gone, right? Trump will primary you. You'll get kicked out of office. Like nobody will want to vote for you, and
especially if you're a politician. Yeah.
Yeah, like there are no the never Trump Republicans are just retirees.
Yes.
No,
yeah. Agreed. A lot of the people that I know still think that he won the 2020 election, which I don't quite understand, but
sure.
So I guess
that's like fucking insane, right?
Yes, no, I agree 100%. Okay. But
but like you're just like casually dropping what would be the most unbelievable conspiracy in the history of all of governments across the planet for all of time.
I agree.
That election was rigged.
Yeah, but there's also the people on the left that I've also seen in my Facebook groups or even just Facebook friends that I have that are just now saying that the 2024 election must have been rigged because there's no way Trump should have won.
Yeah, but do you know who's not saying that? Kamala Harris.
I
or
agree.
Any Democratic leadership.
No, I agree.
And you know who?
That's the thing right there. And this can go to just about a lot of these similar conversations. People will sit here and say, oh, the far left, the crazy left, wants, your 5-year-olds to turn trans. And you just ask them, I bet you I will pay your rent, okay? Ask them, well, what politician says, what politician is championing that? What politician is pushing for that type of legislation? They will say nothing. Because, hey, guess what? Democrats, even the liberals, are not pushing something crazy like that. And if anything, maybe because my wife hasn't seen that on TikTok, because she's always on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. But they'll see someone on Instagram or on TikTok say something crazy, okay? And they will paint that as the entire left, as the entire Democratic Party. But when Trump says something, the guy who's president will say something crazy, racist, whatever. Oh, that means nothing, right? So it's a difference between the president saying something crazy and just a random TikToker. That's not on the same level here. And that's what he's trying to equate. Like, well, like these crazy lefties, they're saying this and this. But hey, that means nothing compared to the actual Trump administration doing and saying crazy things. Not on the same level here.
Who is saying it on the right side? Donald Trump.
I know, I agree.
So it's not, yeah, it's like a different world. And every single I think there was one cabinet person who acknowledged that question and said that Donald Trump had lost the 2020 election.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think everybody else talked around it.
They did, yeah, that. Including J.D. Vance.
That's kind of crazy that the world's leadership in democracy currently has a president that doesn't believe in the outcome of the last election he lost.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And it's a big problem, too, that most MAGA Republicans are the same way. But I do have another question that's like not relating to any of this. I wanted to know your opinion on, and I think I know it, but your opinion on the deportation of what's his name, Kilmar, I believe.
I haven't dug as much into the legal stuff on that. I think ideologically I'm opposed to it. I think legally I'm opposed to it. But it gets into weird kind of like foreign policy territory, or how much do you want to dig into that?
I was digging through the legal process of everything that was going on with him, so I could just go very briefly into it.
So I guess a quick thing. The reason why I have an issue with it is traditionally, prior to maybe Al Qaeda, I guess, when we talk of like terrorist organizations, you think of these like small groups that are non-state actors typically. Mm-hmm. It starts to get really weird when a terrorist organization also happens to be like the government or administrator to a region. Now for ISIS, it was kind of different because they took over parts of countries that were still controlled by other people. But like, would you say like the Taliban, would you consider that like a terrorist group? I actually don't know if the U.S. is. I don't think they do. But like, but we would think of them as kind of a terrorist group. Yeah. But it's also like they're the government in Afghanistan, right? Yeah. And so like, let's say that you want to protest, and you want to support for Hamas. I mean, like, Hamas is the government of the Gaza Strip. Mm-hmm. So are we basically just saying for every single person here with a green card or a visa, you can no longer protest on support of or on behalf of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip because it's related to Hamas, which is foreign.
Well, you're thinking of.
So yeah, I mean, he makes a good point, but he's not talking about the same case here. But so that was just a lot of rambling, but it makes sense. I get that.
You're thinking of Khalil.
Yeah. Wait, what did you say?
I was talking about Kilmar. Kilmar.
Oh, sorry. Fuck. Kilmar, wait. Is Kilmar Abrego Garcia?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. My bad. I thought you said
No,
Khalil.
no, you're okay. Yeah.
Oh, for the Abrego Garcia one, yes. That seems like it was really bad. I'm opposed to that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what because he was here with I believe he was charged in 2019 and then he was allowed to stay and then without due process, which is my biggest issue, was he was just shipped off.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'll have to pull out my phone for 1 second because I have all of them written down.
I'm just kind of curious because we went over a few things that seem to be deeply troubling to me. I would say like any one of these things are an insanely troubling thing. You said you voted for Trump, I'm guessing this last election.
Yes.
What would you have possibly been afraid of from Kamala that you think like supersedes any of the stuff or the totality of the stuff that's happened so far with Trump?
Now, this is the important part. This is where the conversation gets weird. It's like either he didn't really vote for Trump and he's just there just to be a headache, or he really didn't think this through. Let's take a listen.
Well, honestly, to me, my biggest reason for not voting for Kamala, was to the exact reason that I stated earlier, and that I heard a lot of these.
Wait, what was the exact reason earlier?
The exact reason was that there was no primary for her, and the whole reason I did.
Wait, why
vote,
would that have to do with whether or not you thought she would have been a better candidate for
because
Trump?
it wasn't really that. It was more so the fact that I heard a lot of what are the problems, or I guess not problems, worries about Joe Biden from the right when he was running, that he would, ban guns, or about like a lot of crazy things. And then I heard a lot of crazy things about Donald Trump, and I just put them up against each other, and I'm like, well, these things could come true, or we might do okay.
Okay,
So-
but
So once again, this needs to stop. Okay, this is 2025. People have access to crazy amount of information. If you still believe that Democrats are gonna just create laws and legislation to just take everybody's guns, you're a lost cause. I mean, holy shit. Like, what are we doing? Are we stuck in the 2000s? They said the same thing about Obama. They said the same thing about Clinton. They said the same thing about Joe Biden, his first term. Like, when are we going to stop? When are we going to grow up and look this stuff up? When has Democrats tried to really take away guns? Not talk about it after the 200th mass murder at a school. Yeah, they always want to, hey, we need, all these, but when have they really pushed for it? Even though I do agree that we need some regulations on guns, don't get me wrong, but Democrats aren't really fighting for that. So why are we still using the old talking point, Democrats are just going to take our guns? That's the idiot that I'm talking about, okay? I'm sorry.
I'm like curious, if you look at the record, so Trump banned bump stocks.
Yeah.
Biden didn't take our guns.
Yes.
So I feel like that's 1 point for Biden.
Yes.
What was another issue that we were worried about between Biden and Trump? Biden got the infrastructure bill passed. Trump wanted to do that and wasn't able to. Foreign policy-wise, I mean, we were involved arguably with less stuff. There was the Ukraine stuff and there was the Gaza stuff. But we exited Afghanistan, even if it was sloppy. We exited Afghanistan. We weren't involved in the Yemen stuff anymore. We weren't involved in anything in Syria, basically. I'm just curious, like, what was the thing? If you look at the 4 years of each, where do we give Trump points on? Where we're like, oh, I would rather have 4 more years of Trump than 4 more years of a Biden-esque.
Well, because I think I was going to say that's kind of a hard question. It's not really, because a lot of things that people give Trump credit for, he kind of walked into from the previous administration. So that's where I'm like, I can't really give him the credit for those things, that because Obama should be given credit for those things. So, at the same time, people that said the same thing about Biden, which I don't really agree on. So again, that's where me casting a last minute vote, because that's basically what it was. I was just a very undecided voter. I would like to have a third party in, but again,
I'm still trying to figure out what was it about Trump where you're like, this guy's going to be the better one than Kamala. Like,
Hey, guy with the beard, okay? I wish I could grow my beard out like that. Hey, I'm a little jealous, okay? Hey, listen. What are you doing? What are you talking about? Do you understand that voting has power? Yes, it's not like the crazy amount of power. Yes, when it comes to voting, it's the basic. It's the bare bones of being a U.S. citizen, okay? Trust me, I know voting's not going to change the world and, turn every problem into lollipops. I get that. But it's the basics, right? And something like that will affect you. Not just the 4 years, but this can have consequences for your kids, for your grandkids, for your grandkids' kids. Look at Reagan. Hey, last minute, what do you do? Flip a coin in a car? Like, what are we doing? He can't even simply articulate why he voted for Trump over Harris. I don't care if you're wrong. Just tell me why. Tell me why he ain't nothing. Tell me why. That's all I want to know. You can't even do that. Oh, man. This hurts.
What one issue?
It wasn't really that. It was more so just that I weighed the negatives of both, and I'm like, I don't know what could be correct.
What were
And
the
I think,
negatives that you weighed for Kamala?
well, again, the unrealized capital gains, which you said again, which I agree with
never
you.
happen, right?
No, I agree with you. That would never happen.
Okay.
But that's where there were things with Trump where I did not at all anticipate that he would have this gigantic MAGA base behind him. I thought, okay, well, there's got to be someone who will hold him accountable. Where
Didn't he literally say that though coming in? Wasn't he saying, like, we saw J.D. Vance saying he would have supported him on January 20th. He would have voted for him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We saw that he was trying to find people who were loyalists to him the whole time.
There we
You
go.
saw him try to fire everybody in the final weeks of his presidency last time.
Mm-hmm.
Did we just
Hey, this is what happens when you are not connected to politics. I don't want to say 24/7, but more than just when it's election time. Because Trump said, and this is what he was planning on doing, is installing loyalists in these key positions. Trump failed during his first term. And why? For the most part, he has somewhat of adults in the room to say, hey, no, Trump, we can't do that. Trump, we're not allowed to do that. Trump, you can't do that. And they would tell the press, they would tell the news. But what is Trump doing now? Or what has he done? He put people in these key positions that will say yes, that will play along with this craziness. But guess what? It is too late. Man, like, we had this conversation before the election. Man, it kills me, man. Come on, man.
expect that he was going to fail at everything again, I guess?
I guess fail at that, yes. Not fail at everything, but fail at bringing all loyalists in, and maybe it would be a little evened off. Was at least my hope. Yeah, but that obviously
it just
did not
seems
happen.
crazy to me that, like, we could have either voted for Kamala, and our biggest worry was an unrealized capital gains tax, which probably would have never happened, and I'm just making a...
Wouldn't even oh man, wouldn't even affect your... Come on, man. Hey, come on. I'm really trying here to not be rude because I don't even know you, and I don't want to push you further into the Republican arms. But damn, man. Out of all things, you could have said Gaza, and I would have been like, all right, man, I get you. You're talking about something that won't even affect you.
assumption here, but I'm guessing you don't have hundreds of millions of dollars in unrealized
Oh
capital
no, not
gains.
at all. It was just no.
So
I
it's
would
not even
love
real-
that.
okay.
Yeah.
So there was that, and then for Donald Trump, it was like there's the potential for all of this absolutely horrible, atrocious stuff to happen, but I don't think he'll pick the right people to make that happen. Like, I feel like if I was just looking at both of these candidates without knowing anything about America or elections or whatever, and somebody's like, well, on this side, you got a candidate who might do maybe a bad thing, but probably not. And then this other guy, he could actually be Hitler 2.0, but he probably won't be because you'll have people around him that'll stop him from doing that. This seems like an easy choice. So I'm trying to figure out what is driving us away from one or towards the other.
It's mainly just, I guess, the driving factor was just the hope behind it. So just the hope
for
of that
what?
that wouldn't happen.
Well, no,
That's
but
it.
what would happen? It was the hope that he would just show up and die, or what is like the hope?
No.
What are we hoping that would happen?
No. I guess what I was hoping what would happen was the economy would continue to build in a better way.
Why
Not
do you
that
say
we would
continue
because it was
building.
building.
Under
Yes.
Biden.
Yes, it was. I agree with that.
So why wouldn't we choose a guy that was building it? Wouldn't that make more sense?
Because there were certain things that that Trump ran on that I agreed on, like deportation. I agreed on that, not how extreme.
Oh my God, bro. Okay, first off, it's starting to feel like and like I told you at the beginning of the video, it might be a mix of those three things, of those three characteristics, okay? He could be naive and stupid and an idiot, right? And one of those people that cheered on Trump because he said some funny things, okay? And he could be racist. He could hate women. He's like, hey, I'm not voting for a woman. That's simple. Because what he is saying is making no sense. And he's about to get into deportation. Trump said he's going to do the craziest things when it comes to deportation. Said nothing about reform or creating legislation that could solve our border problem or our asylum seeking process. No. He just said, I'm going to deport 11, 15, 20 million people. Had no plan, didn't tell you how he was going to do it, didn't tell you, the procedures and what. No, he just told you some things and you bought that. And you said, oh, he's not going to be crazy, right? He's not going to ship American citizens, right? And I have to share a country with this guy here. I'm sitting over here reading all these damn books, all these articles, for what? So my vote can essentially be voided because this idiot was an undecided voter and flipped the coin in the car and decided to vote for Trump. What? Hey, I need people to do better. Step your game up. Jesus Christ.
That he's putting it out at all. But I agreed on, okay, yeah, which again, it's not like Biden didn't deport anybody. Biden was actively deporting people. But again,
Joe Biden, they said that Joe Biden on an average was deporting, I want to say, to 150 to 200 or 250 to 300 people a day. Damn. But of course, leave it to all the Republicans. Oh, Joe Biden just had an open border. Shut the hell up. Statistically, Joe Biden was deporting people. So what does that tell you? And he knew that. He said that and he knew it.
Again, I would like to end another one. Well, one of my questions kind of goes into this was I would like to end the catch and release at some point. I don't know how that would even work or happen or what we would put in place of that because it would have to be something.
Sure.
But
okay, here's something that bothers me. So you say you don't even know how that would work. The reason why you don't is because nobody actually talks about any of it.
No, I
They
agree.
talk about getting rid of things or destroying our immigration policy or whatever. It's like, well, what are we going to replace it with? What's an actual solution?
Well,
and I think that's
yeah.
an issue. Is that there was a border bill. For whatever reason, Republicans decided they didn't like it, even though it was a Republican bill for helping border stuff that Trump didn't want passed at the end of Biden's term. Well, now are we past 100 days yet for this term? We still have no legislation relating to the wall at all. We have nothing related to the border. Nothing related to
Zero. And you know how I knew it was going to be zero progress on the things that matter. You know how I knew that? Because when he was on that debate stage and he wanted to get rid of Obamacare, okay, and they asked him, what is your plan then? What do you plan on replacing with whatever is better? And he said, I have concepts of a plan. Concepts of a plan. And he said, oh, I'll be revealing it in a few weeks or something like that. That was almost a year ago. So you're telling me you voted for a guy who said, I have concepts of a plan when it comes to something as important as healthcare. And you looked at that and be like, but he's better than Harris, though. At least Harris had a plan. And I read the motherfucking pages. And it was boring, but I read it. She at least had a plan. Mediocre? Yes. Lukewarm? Yes. Very little. But it was a plan. But you voted, and now we got to do. Oh my God!
asylum. We have nothing. There's no legislation at all, I guess. So what happened? Do we not care about that, or
It's not. I guess yeah, because it's like, I mean, not me, but Trump. Yes. And that's again where one of my biggest issues comes in, is that
well, but then I'm also trying to figure out this too, because this is so hard. So people get mad at me, and this sounds mean, and I don't mean to sound mean, but like sometimes I feel like people don't have the real problem. They just talk about things that they think they have problems with because the media's told them they have problems with. Okay. Now I don't know.
Yep. Trans people, gay people, immigrants, wokeness, critical race theory, DEI, all these made up boogeymans, Republicans purposely, watch my previous videos, I talked about this, but they purposely created these boogeymans, and it flooded social media. People can't stop talking about it. Critical race theory, remember that? DEI, you're telling me DEI is more important than you putting food on your table, you getting a high quality paying job? But no, that's what everybody want to talk about. Trans in sports, which trans people make up less than 1% of Americans, and even not even a percentage of those trans people plays in sports. So you're telling me that's what we needed to focus on? Oh, sweet God. Give me the strength right now. Give me the strength right now to keep my composure. Hey, here we go. Let's finish.
I'll be honest, okay, because the only thing I know about Michigan is you guys cheated in every football game, okay, against Nebraska. All right, Michigan and Alabama. The thing I'm perplexed by is that two things that you're voting for are voting against. You're voting against unrealized capital gains tax, which I'm guessing you don't have millions of, and then you're voting against border illegal immigrant stuff. Is Michigan a popular destination for a ton of?
No.
Okay, it seems like a far way to try. Like, what is actually going on here? Now, if you would have told me, I think that, I think we could have expanded our Great Lakes by taking over, fucking Toronto or something. Okay, well, I kind of get it. You're closer here. We're closer to the Canadian border. It makes sense.
No.
Little little dictatorship.
Yeah, sorry. And then, I think you might go. But so, can you see from my side how like that's like really confusing to me as I'm trying to figure out like what do we vote? Because like everything you've described so far, I could kind of get if you were like, so I just didn't vote. I stayed home and I was like, but you didn't. You were driven to the polls to go and vote for Trump. And was it really illegal immigration and unrealized capital gains when you were at the polling place? You were just like these.
Well, no, because it was mainly that I was undecided up until election day, and even on election day I was still undecided. It wasn't something that I was like, okay, I'm going to vote for Trump. Most of my friends, I told them running up to the election, there's no way I'm voting for Trump. But then I was trying to see who would be in place for Biden. I didn't want to vote for Biden. I wanted to vote for somebody else who I thought was more coherent at the time than Biden. And that's what I was hoping for. And I saw Kamala get put up, and I'm like, okay, but I don't like the way she was put up. On top of that, she's running off of a lot of things that kind of Biden ran off of. And I just kind of feel like it's going to be a copy and paste, and I would like somebody to have more of a, not that Trump didn't do that from his first term to his second term, but it's more so of I was still undecided at the polling. So I wrote, at this point, I would say that I slightly regret it. But yeah, I voted for Trump. And that there was a lot of things that I went into with that, and I was like, okay, well, hopefully the best outcome comes from this. And that's, if anything, I'm not in control of what happens. So I would like for the best outcome to come. And
Any
that just didn't happen.
final thought?
What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? It's essentially hoping for the best. Really? That was your plan? Oh, sweet God. Sweet God.
I don't know what's, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I appreciate the talk. Yeah.
Yeah, no, cool. I would like to have
Thanks a
another
lot,
one
Josh.
again.
Everyone.
All right, and it ends there. So, hey guys, man, this can't continue to go on like this. Like, And even I notice now, even with my own YouTube channel, like after the election, like people don't really engage with real politics. They don't want to talk about real politics. And trust me, I'm always looking to have a conversation about real stuff. But no, people are just out there, bro. And trust me, I work too. I work 8 hours, 9 hours. I got a family, I got kids. But I still find the time to, hey, educate myself. So then in the future, I can make at least an educated decision. And you can say I'm right or you can say I'm wrong, but at least I'll be able to articulate why I got to where I got to. And not just like, oh, Harris, like she wanted to be like Biden. I mean, she's a Democrat, right? And she was his vice president, but she was going to be like a Biden. So I voted for the wannabe dictator. And I'm going to end with this. A Bible verse from Hosea 4:6. I'm sorry. Hey, I used to be a youth pastor. You know what I'm saying? I still read my Bible. My people, it says Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. That's not just a spiritual thing. You can use this in just about any points of life. If you lack the knowledge, if you lack the information, you're going to miss on opportunities. You're going to make the wrong decisions. And that is going to affect you, the people you love, and other people around you. People you don't even know. Your decisions, your uneducated decisions will affect people you don't even know. And you're okay with that? Hey, let this happen again. Let this happen again. America is doomed. Trust me, I will be flying out this. Hey. But once again, guys, hey, thank you for watching. If you agree or disagree with anything I said in this video, let me know in the comments down below or hit that blue sky link in the description down below so we can have that one-on-one talk. And like always, let's have that conversation.